That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah! What the fuck are you talking about?
What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and I am here with my guy Brandon, as always. And it is Philly the podcast on A2D Radio. I know it sounds weird, it's very windy, but it is what it is. Get used to it because it's not going on anyway. So let's get this out the way. Shout out to our sponsor for the show, Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, and gummies and topicals. So use promo code A2D for 20% off of your order at bodycheckwellness.com. I'm getting better. These are going to get better as I go. You know what I'm saying? But let's do what we're actually good at. Let's talk some football, Brandon. So first of all, how are you? How have you been, man? We haven't done this in a while.
I know we took last Saturday off. We took a break, but we're back. I'm doing good. It's beautiful outside, a little windy, but hey, it's a nice Saturday going on right now.
Yeah, I live in Florida, so it's beautiful right now. I might actually go jump in the pool today. That's, I've been avoiding it, but it might be that time. So,
bro, don't rub that in.
So, talking about jumping, let's talk a little bit about Zach Ertz, man. A lot of drama around Zach Ertz. He's not gone yet. There's still talk about him possibly leaving. We've heard a couple teams talking about possibly going after him. What are your thoughts? Just how do you feel about the whole situation?
I mean, you always want players you draft to finish out their career with your team, especially when they're good. I mean, a couple of years ago, Zach Ertz was, if not top three, like number 2 best tight end in the league. I mean, you kind of got to give it to Kelsey. He's been like pretty much consistent throughout all these years. But he was the top 3 tight end over the last couple of years. And then this year, obviously the injuries plagued him and the contract talks. And it's unfortunate to see one of a Eagles favorite kind of go down into the dumps and kind of forgotten about in a sense, because we do have Dallas Goedert. We do have another athletic tight end who low key is better after the catch than Ertz is. He's a little faster and can put some moves on guys. So fortunately for us, it's a situation where we're going to lose a great player, but we still have a solid number 2 there. But it's still a mess. I wish Howie and him could have figure something out. Ever since that report came that they're arguing in practice or whatever it was, I knew right then and there. And this season was just proof that he's checked out of Philly, kind of like some other players we won't talk about.
That are part of the team. I'm not. I feel like, look, I love Zach Ertz. I feel like Howie Roseman's become a bully. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, I love Zach Ertz. I feel like you kind of hit it on the head, though. Like the tight end position, I feel like is evolving. It's changing every year. You know what I'm saying? And you're starting to see more and more athletic guys. I mean, look at the draft. A lot of people are, in love with a tight end, no matter what you want to say he's going to become in the NFL. The bare bones is that he's the tight end, right? So people are in love with a tight end at top 5 positions, for the draft. So we see that change. We see that change in the position. Zach Ertz has never really been that guy that you worried about the after catch. I feel like the past couple of years he's gotten a little bit better, to his credit, but he was just always a solid pair of hands, like you said. So it sucks. He's one of those guys that we kind of grew up watching, and you don't want to see the guys leave, but it's got to happen at some point.
Like you said, the athletic tight ends like a Darren Waller. I'm pretty sure he was like a wide receiver turn tight end. Those are like the new thing. Like they can develop blocking. You can coach that. You can get that over time, but you can't coach athleticism. That's something that's natural. And if you can get a bigger body like a Darren Waller out there, Travis Kelsey, he's athletic. The dude from the 49ers, he's another one. Like those are like the staple today. And unfortunately, Zach Ertz is only getting older. So what do you think we can get for Zach Ertz? Like in your mind, what do you hope we can get? Because
that's a better way.
Just to be tight.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. If we cut Zach Ertz, bro, man, I joke around. Like, I'm not I'm not one of those guys that'll be on here cussing up a storm or anything, but I will be upset. I will be very upset. Like if we end up just cutting him, that makes no sense to me, especially where we are in the cap situation. I'm not saying we're in a great situation by any means, but if you're making it public, I don't know if it's to save face, but if you're making it public that you don't need to restructure someone like Lane Johnson because you're in a decent position, and I don't see why you would need to just outright cut Zach Ertz unless, like you said, the relationship is just completely torn there, which it might be. It might 100% might be. But if we were to trade him, what could we get? I've been the one saying, I think he's worth a third, and I've held kind of true to that. The longer you go, I think the less you'll get, so maybe right now we're looking at maybe like a fourth. But it depends on the team. It really depends on the team. I would love to get the world for him. I think, to somebody's credit in here, somebody said they still think he's a top 5 tight end. I agree with that. I think still top 5. I could give him top 5. I think he would be 5. I think he would be 5, but I think he's top 5. Because, really, I would say, and I'm not going to put him in any order. I'm just going to say 4 people that I would definitely put ahead of him. I would definitely put Waller. I would definitely put Kittle. I would definitely put Travis Kelce. Who am I forgetting?
Kittle, Kelce, Waller. I'm sure we're forgetting someone.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's gonna say, but like realistically, now that I'm looking at, maybe he's 4 because I really can't think of somebody that has the impact. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, who are you gonna tell me?
It's gonna pop up. Like,
somebody's gonna probably say Gronk. Somebody's gonna probably say Gronk, but right now, I don't think he's a top 5 right now. I think he's a great tight end. Don't get me wrong. So yeah, I agree. I think he still is probably a top 5. He might be on the latter part of that 5, but you can't get top 5 value out of him at the point, because right now, and this is something I want to ask you about too, and then we'll kind of get into the whole point of this actual live. But like we said, we haven't talked in a while on these, so we got to vent a little bit. But I want to ask you, Jeffrey Lurie coming out and saying that Jalen Hurts is our quarterback. We've talked about that, but I want to ask you on the go in a little bit deeper. Does that kind of hurt value on these trades? Because now people know it's like, all right, they're not going to go get a quarterback, or could it be a smokescreen? Like, do you think him being so open about what the plan is this offseason hurts our value?
I don't know if it hurts our value, but it definitely comes off as smokescreen-ish. I feel like we've seen this before. We've seen that Carson's our guy, but we're grabbing a quarterback anyways. We've seen other teams do this too, where they're vocal about something, even though they don't even know if they really believe it or not. Like, yes, Hurts can potentially be a solid player in the NFL, and we only got a couple games of watching him. But if you were that, I don't know, I feel like you're not that sold on Hurts. That's why there was the rumors before of bringing in competition, whatever competition means to them. Obviously, we can argue and say competition's good, but it's just like a taboo word in Philly. So competition to us means like, oh, you're bringing in someone that potentially is going to start rather than just push them to be better. So I don't know. It's cool to maybe have Jeffrey Lurie put that out there for Hurts so he can keep working hard. But I don't really believe him, to be honest. I gotta see it to believe it. I don't trust this team right now.
Facts. And Tom says happy belated birthday.
Hey, thank you, Tom.
Yeah, happy belated birthday. No, I agree. And to Joe, I like his first name, so I got to read this. But Joe Taloon says the Bears love tight ends. And that's, to my point, what I was saying earlier. It depends on the team that we're looking at, what we can get for him. We could possibly get something good for him if people, like a team like Seattle is like, man, we're just a tight end away. If we can get that tight end, or any team, if it's the Bears, whatever it is, I just feel like the longer you wait, the less you're gonna get, and I just hope we don't cut him. That's my main thing right now.
Yeah, if we cut him, that'd be just such a waste. Like, you can go get a fourth. I know there's a chance. Like the Dolphins, Jay Ajayi was coming off a solid season, and they just didn't want him. They didn't just cut him. We grabbed him for a fourth, and our GM looked like a genius. Someone else's GM's gonna look like a genius getting Zach Ertz for maybe something that we wouldn't normally see, like a 4th round or a 5th round pick. But at least that's something. That's better than nothing. That's a chance of hitting on a player that turns out to be a hard worker and kills it in the NFL compared to nothing.
Facts. And now let's switch gears a little bit. We're keeping on veterans and we're keeping on money a little bit, but we're talking restructure. So we saw Brandon Graham supposedly going to be getting a restructure. Brandon Brooks apparently is in talks of getting a restructure, which is huge because we've all been, thinking he might be getting traded. But Jason Kelsey got a pay raise, but it was basically a restructure, how it worked out for the cap space. So putting everything together, all these restructures, how do you feel? And does this say something about the culture there? Maybe people are a little bit happier than we see it on our side. Maybe we think it's a little bit more dysfunctional than it actually is.
Yeah, I think that these guys are grown men. They love Philadelphia. They love being on the team. And especially at their age, going to a new team, a new system. I mean, granted, it is a new system now, but just having to redo all that, sometimes that's not ideal. Like, they've built the relationships in Philadelphia. They built the relationships with the new organization, even if they're butting heads. You can't just all of a sudden want to like blow everything up just because you got rid of one player that was supposed to be the future. But it is what it is. You're not going to just say, well, bump Philadelphia because Carson Wentz isn't here, so now I'm going to retire or I'm not going to restructure and all this. That's not the case. These guys genuinely like the team. They've been on the team for a long time. And I see why the veterans are doing it. And that, I mean, granted, I don't think we had really any other choice. Like, I bet Howie's knocking on everyone's door, like, please restructure, please restructure. Right. And unless they want to waste a whole year of their NFL, waste a whole year, they're only getting older, especially the old guys. No one wants to go into it losing. Yeah, some of the young guys are talking on Instagram or Twitter, and we could talk about that. But you're not going into this wanting to lose. You want to be able to put the best team out there that you can financially and everything and go on and see what happens. So I appreciate the older dudes restructuring their contracts and trying to help this team a little bit.
Yeah, no, I feel it makes me feel good because it does, especially people like, Jason Kelsey, who we were worried about was going to get, go on retirement or maybe get cut. I feel like everybody's going to get cut at this point. It's just like the hot word. You know what I'm saying? Like right. Every time we're in some type of situation, it's like, oh, this guy's going to get cut. That guy's going to get cut. It looks like some of these veterans, a lot of these veterans, we had Dave Spadero on the show, and he was like, he kind of opened my eyes because I kind of felt like we were losing all these guys. And he's like, but who are we really losing? You know, and that kind of, when he really broke it down, it really did kind of make me be like, you're kind of right. Like, all these guys are either restructuring or they're figuring it out. So who are we really losing? So I think it's kind of like, to answer my own question, I definitely think Eagles fans, and I understand it because we're part of it, we were definitely, kind of panicking at a point. I think maybe we're more dysfunctional than the franchise is at this point right now.
All our feelings
That's probably the funnest part. Exactly. Yeah, nobody can agree with anything. And the one thing that, not to get to too much on a tangent, which we'll always do, but it's not to get too much on it, but I feel like whenever we disagree, whoever we disagree with is, oh, you're an idiot. You make no sense, bro. And like maybe it's like that in every other, fan base, but I only see mine. So it's like my comment section, I'm sure, Tom and all them will agree. I'm sure A2D's comment section be wild too. So it is what it is. I mean, hey, agree to disagree. Shout out to A2D. That's a great name because that's what the Eagles fans just need to learn how to do right now. But let's move on to the cuts. Now, there are some people that are going to get cut. Everybody's not staying. So we look at like people like Alshon. We look at people like Deshaun Jackson. I'm trying to think of some of the other big names that were cut. I know we just cut our defensive tackle. I forget his name. But we cut a couple people. That's the main overall thing. And there's a couple people that might end up still being cut. So my question to you is there anybody that you're looking at and saying you're still on the hot seat? You know what I mean?
I think they're cutting the people that need to be cut, not because I dislike them per se. Obviously, I have love for Deshaun Jackson. I was hyped when he came back. But that's a lot of money for a guy that's only, played 3 games in 2 years, maybe 4. And did he play the whole games of those games? Not really. And then he comes in and then for some odd reason gets put on a punt return as if he's 5 years younger and he gets hurt within 1 second. So it sucks to see kind of guys like that go, but I understand the financial piece. And it is what it is. And with Alshon, I mean, we saw it. He just doesn't look like himself anymore. Maybe he just wasn't into it, or maybe he just flat out wasn't ready to play football yet. And maybe the next team he goes to or whatnot, who knows? Maybe they bring him back on a cheap deal. I don't know. But maybe next year he'll be better wherever he is, or he retires. I don't know. But there's no one that I really, if anything, there's players that I want to re-sign that's a free agent, kind of like a Jalen Mills per se. But cutting wise, I think they're cutting the right people right now. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, I agree with you as far as them cutting the right people. I would definitely like to see some. I mean, I don't want to say I want to see. I definitely don't want to see some re-signing. So, like, to go on the opposite side of you, you know, like, I definitely don't want to see them go and get Nate Gary back or anything like that. So, like, there's definitely some people that didn't get franchise tag that I don't want to see back. There are people I want to see back. As far as the people that they have cut, the defensive tackle, I want to say it was like Hester. I want to say it was Trayvon Hester. I know I'm wrong about that. So,
that sounds good. I think you're right.
If it's one of those guys, but either way, I think defensive tackle, I wouldn't mind keeping, you know, young guys around. Is there anybody left that I want to see cut? Maybe Matt Pryor, you know, just to kind of get that out of the way. You know, like I don't really want to see him get back on the squad. Maybe like, you know, JP, make sure he's not coming back. You know, like even if there is like even that 1 day contract. Even that 1 day contract, like make it like a half a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it a half a day contract, so he make sure we don't get him on the field. But no, I agree. I think we're doing what we have to do. We would have been in a decent situation if Carson didn't leave. Like realistically,
2 questions back to back, real quick. We'll talk about one, then we'll go to the next. But just to kind of go back to the people that have restructured, who do you think is the most important player that we restructure that is willing to kind of be that teammate to restructure his contract and stay with the squad?
It'll be Brandon Graham. If Brandon Graham will bring that down, that'll be huge for us. But the people that have, either Javon Hargrave, because that was a lot of money. That was like 10 mil. Either Javon Hargrave or Brandon Brooks. But I don't know the Brandon Brooks, what's it called? The Brandon Brooks number off the top of my head. But I know it was obviously hefty. But, you know, so those are my 2 guys. But definitely right now, Javon Hargrave. Because Javon Hargrave really didn't have to do that. I mean, we all knew he didn't have the greatest of seasons. But he literally just got here. For that reason, I guess you could say Slay too, but
I was just
those
about to say,
be mine too. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, just like the 2 newer guys who don't really have that I don't know what the word is, I forget right now, but they don't have that loyalty that they don't need to. At least they can be like, no, I'm here for my paycheck and to play football. I'm not here to restructure a deal that I just signed a year ago. It's like they understood, like, all right, we need to make this team better. We need to get under the cap. And a guy like Javon Hargrave, he didn't play particularly well last year. He started to get better at the end of the season, but when Fletcher Cox went down against the Cowboys, we needed guys like Javon Hargrave and Malik Jackson to kind of step up and go off, and they didn't. And that's part of the reason why we lost that game and lost the division last year. But my second question was, for some of the guys that are free agents, who do you want to bring back?
Definitely Mills. I agree with you on that. Definitely Mills. Other than that, depending on what we do at tight end position, I think Richard Rodgers is a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. I think him and Josh Perkins are free agents. I would love to bring Richard Rodgers back. I like Richard Rodgers a lot. I wouldn't mind Josh Perkins if we do get rid of, Zach Ertz, because then that's a good 3, I feel like, if you're not going for a tight end in the draft. Other than that, is Alex Singleton a free agent?
I think so.
I know one of our linebackers other than Nate Garrett. Nate is not coming back. But I know one of our other, I want to say it's either Alex Singleton or TJ Edwards. I'm pretty sure it's Alex Singleton.
I think
but either way, I'm pretty sure one of those 2. I'll bring whoever it is, because I like both of them. Pretty sure it's Alex Singleton. So I would definitely bring him back. Who else? I would have took Cam Johnston back. I don't know why they didn't bring Cam Johnston back. Like we don't have a punter now.
He's definitely been solid, like, for the Eagles. I don't know. What are they going to draft one? I've seen some of these younger punters that have like choked like toward the end of the season on other teams. So to get rid of a veteran like that, yeah, it's a punter, but some of those punts are huge, and if you're just gonna shank it off to the right and it goes 20 yards, that's not good. And I've seen some of the young guys for other teams do that.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to work on his accuracy, like, his directional punting if you're going to, if we're going to sit here and, nitpick a punter. But, that's the only thing he definitely got. But he got a boot. That man got a boot. That man could just – that boy was punting like 60-yard punts, bro. I don't know. Yeah, that didn't make much sense to me. There was some stuff that didn't make much sense to me, but, I mean, maybe we'll re-sign him for cheaper. I don't really know how much he was getting paid. I don't think he was getting paid that much, so I don't know how much cheaper he can get. Maybe even, to go off cuff, maybe somebody like Deshaun Jackson, maybe. Depending on, like, if he wants to come back for, like, the vet minimum, what I'm saying? I wouldn't be mad at that. Having like a him and Marquise Goodwin kind of there as the two veterans there, and then you got a whole bunch of young, fast guys, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's something I would listen to.
No, I agree. I hope Deshaun comes back. Maybe. No, I don't know. It's kind of like the JP. It's low key like JP. It's like these guys, they have a place in your heart, but but they're always getting injured. You can't shake your head at JP, but then say maybe Deshaun. When if anything, JP's been a little bit healthier than Deshaun.
He has. I mean, at least, but JP, like when he was playing, it was bad. It just looked bad. Like at least when Deshaun was out there. When he was like healthy, you know what I'm saying? Like because he was only really played 2 games. Like other than that, it was like 2 quarters here, 3 quarters there. So it was like, he really only played 2 games. And in those 2 games, he balled out, So I feel you though. I definitely agree with you. It's just, we just need to just move on. I take that back. Man. So let's talk. Let's move on a little bit to the rumors. The rumor mill. Jeff McClain put out an article recently on yesterday, saying that Howie and Lane Johnson basically were going back and forth in 2018, and now all the quotes are coming out, and he said, they said some crazy stuff. So I just want to get your opinion on it. I know I did a video of it not too long ago, but you let me know what you're thinking, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So after just kind of having it mull over in my brain and just kind of thinking about it. It sounds like Howie's just likes to try to be one of the guys in a sense. Like you can have like Jason Kelsey or Brandon Brooks or whatever go up to him and be like, "Oh, you really let this dude beat you?" Like kind of joking around. But then when you got like the nerdy guy upstairs coming down and being like trying to crack jokes when like your adrenaline's going, you're just like ready to like go through a wall after probably being mad that this kid passes you and stuff. And then you got this guy who doesn't play football or anything like that come make jokes. I can see where the disconnect is and where there could be issues where he's just like, get out of my face. You're just the guy upstairs. Leave me alone. So I just picture it as like this like little nerdy guy coming down and trying to be one of the guys, and everyone just like, nah, bro, know your place. Like this is you're not one of us right now.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You got to read the room, bro. You got to know who you're cool with. Like everybody has different relationships with different people. You know what I'm saying? There's some people like me and my family, we literally sit there and just make fun of each other. That's our way of showing love. You know what I'm saying? Like with us, with our friends and everything in our circle, we joke around and everything, and we know boundaries. We know the line. If you don't know that as nearly, I want to say he's like 40 something years old. If you don't know that as like a 40 plus year old man, we gotta figure something out, bro. Like, especially in the position that you are in, and it's not like you just got here out of nowhere. You've been with the Eagles for what going on 20 years, 21 years, something like that now. So, I mean, you just gotta read the room, and it goes to Lurie too. It's like if you see this is happening, especially to a player like Lane Johnson, I can almost see if this was somebody like Riley Cooper or somebody that nobody likes anyways. Go talk shit to him, or go talk junk to them. You know what I'm saying? Go talk shit to them after the game. But like you go do it to an all-pro guy that, like you said, he's probably revved up. He's probably upset. It's like why poke the bear? Why make it worse? And I know it was 2018, but that's there's really no but. It was 2018, and neither of them were quoted. Nothing's being like,
It was once I saw that, because I saw people on Twitter talking and posting like, wow, how he's really getting into a fight with with Lane. So I'm like looking it up. I'm going everywhere. I'm like, oh, what just happened? What's going down? It must be about like restructuring contracts or something. And then it was like, oh, it's from 2018. So you're telling me there's a high chance that they've moved past that. We didn't see any other fights going on. So obviously they moved past it at some point. But to maybe Howie's defense, in a sense, the way that Doug was able to kind of be friends with everybody. I mean, even like you said, we had Dave Spadero on, and he was saying how Doug was like one of the most friendly coaches. Like he always wanted to please people, and he was probably like over there cracking jokes with players and everything because he became more of a friend probably than a coach. And maybe Howie was like, I want to do that too. And then he goes and then he's just awkward about it and decides to go after people who may not be ready to joke around yet.
Yeah, especially when you're losing. Everything's good when you're winning. Everything is fine and dandy when you're winning games. Like you can say whatever, but just about when you're winning games. You can cover up anything. Because I mean, Bill Belichick, people hate playing for the Patriots, but they love playing for the Patriots because you're winning. Like it is what it is. You can hate the man to death, but if you're winning games, it is what it is. We weren't winning. You know, Howie, bad timing. Maybe make that joke when we're up 40-0. You know what I'm saying? Like that, that might be the time to do that. Not when you just lost the game. I mean, it is what it is. People are trying to, and this is one thing I do want to say. People want to like spin certain things to use it in their favor. Like just a month ago, we did not believe one report. You know what I'm saying? When reports were, oh, this guy doesn't want to be here, that guy doesn't want to be here, we didn't believe anything. But now that we, hate Howie Roseman, we see a little, like even the one thing about, that Jeffrey Lurie makes his decisions based on the radio. Like, come on, man. Like, and that was posted by the radio. Like, it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? That's what they said. That's not even what, like one of your, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to say that. Actually, that's what we're going to do. All right. Just so you guys know, breaking news, Jeffrey Lurie makes his decisions based on what Philly, the podcast says. So,
hey, it's out there now. It's out there.
If it's said on the internet, it's true. That's just how it works. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, and we did speak to somebody else, and they kind of said it was the dude from Denver, Cecil Laney. Cecil was like, you got to know who says what and why they say it. So we got to kind of read more into what these reporters are saying because I feel like there's more to it. You know what I'm saying? But so let me ask you this. Overall, before we get into like, can he save the season? We kind of talked about it a little bit, but I want to go into it a little bit deeper. Do you think that Howie Roseman's doing the right thing this offseason? Like with the restructures, with the cuts, with the, the way that he's handling this offseason so far, do you think he's handling it correctly?
I mean, yeah. I mean, as of right now, that's all he really can do. Carson didn't want to be here. He got a trade done before it ended up being Carson Wentz for a 4th-round pick or something. We have potentially, most likely, if Carson stays healthy, we're going to end up getting a first out of this. So at the end of the day, that's what we wanted. It might not be the first this year, but for all we know, the Colts stink it up. Carson plays the snaps that he's supposed to, and we have an even better pick next year. And we got 2 first rounds. So, yeah. And then with the restructuring, we'll see what happens with free agency. If we're able to get anybody, see what those moves are. I know they want to move players around like a Jernard Avery to linebacker. I don't know if that's a Howie decision or maybe just like the newer coaches talking. And then the figuring out what happens with Ertz, that's huge. And then obviously the big one's going to be the draft and see what they do with that number 6 pick. If they either get more capital, if they draft the player we all want, or just a player that's going to fill in and be a starter day one, or are they going to reach for somebody and we're all just going to be absolutely heated? So these next couple months is really going to be huge for Howie. But as of right now, I don't really have too much to complain outside of maybe this noise of bringing in competition and then Jeffrey Lurie kind of going behind him and saying, no, Jalen Hurts is our guy. That's kind of been the one miscue there. It's kind of like the Doug Peterson saying, we're keeping these guys. The next day, they're fired. So that's the only thing I can see right now. But to answer your question right now, I think he's doing a good job, a decent job.
Well, don't say good. Don't say it. Say you saved it with decent. Right? People gonna come at you. Now, I don't want to talk about this. I want us to do. Well, me and you were gonna do a video when you have time. I want to do like a quick little 5-10 minute video talking about this. But I don't know if you heard, but Darius Slay was on a podcast and they asked him, I want to say he was on pick 6, but they asked him who he wanted us to draft, and he said he wants Jamar Chase at number 6. So we'll talk about that later. I don't want to get too deep into that, but that was interesting to hear that he would even say that, to be honest, because I know. But, hey, shout out to Darius Slay. If you want to come on the show, you let me know, brother. I got you. We could talk draft all day. Before we get to the next, or before I say what I wanted to say next, to Dylan Renner, he keeps on asking, didn't they just backload contracts? They did. They did. It is what it is. I mean, that's what a restructure is, but that's all we could do. And if you look at next year, we have the cap to do this. You know what I'm saying? This is that one year that you kind of got to just bite it. You got to bite the bullet and then look towards next year. So, like we said, it sucks because you don't want to do that, but, we're in that position that you have to, and I think he's making the right decisions as far as who he's doing it with, and not just trading everybody away. Because, he could have just done that too, and that's a restructure right there. Yeah, we just ain't going to have your contract next year.
Right.
No and hell no, my bad. Said no and hell no, you can't say ish. I think people just overreacting all the way around. Yeah, I feel like this season, this offseason, I should say, especially, is just so weird. Like, it's like you can't be at the game if you're a reporter, so I don't want to say making up, but you're going more so off hearsay. You know what I'm saying? Your sources and everything. That's what everything is now. 99% of everything is just straight up sources. So what do you see happening next? Like, what are your thoughts? Where do you think we're going from here in this offseason?
I think the next step is obviously what we started off this episode with is trading Zach Ertz. That's the next step. He's another one that just doesn't want to be here because he wants more money, and then he felt disrespected when Howie's like, basically, nah, bro, like we don't have the money to give you. So it is what it is. That's the next step, and then trying to depend on where we are with the cap. Maybe get one player, someone that's a free agent, and we're going to need to sign people, and then we're also going to need money for these rookies. So I get it. Maybe we're not going to get any decent name free agent, but I still think we need to get Mills back in here. We do need more D-back help, which is pretty much concerning me for this draft. I don't know if we go wide receiver. I think we may need to go defense, but that's a topic for another day. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Like we gotta just start making moves. I said earlier before, like we have to be quick and we have to make these decisions quickly. I like that we have for the most part, but the way that the Zach Ertz stuff is lingering around, like we got to make a decision. You already came out and said you're going to be Jalen. We're building around Jalen Hurts, which we'll see if that's true, but something's got to happen. You got to make something happen so we can get into a position where we have like 10 mil over the cap, you know what I'm saying, where we're good, where we have 10 mil in the green, I should say, I guess. But what do you do with that? Do you go ahead and just grab a bunch of young guys? Do you just roll it over? Do you try to re-sign some of these young guys? I agree. I do like Mills coming back. I would love to see Mills come back. Like I said, I would love to see one of our tight ends come back. But I don't think we're in the market to go anywhere else. Like go look at anybody else's products. Like I like somebody like Dennis Gardeck from the Arizona Cardinals. I've been pounding the table for him because I really think that he could become something, and he'll be very, very cheap. There's a couple wide receiver options that are very cheap, but I don't understand why you would really do that. Develop your own at that point. Kind of same thing with the running back situation. I'm not sure what's going on with Jordan Howard, if he's still on contract or if he's not. That's a decision you got to make. You know what I'm saying? So we got to figure out a couple things.
Would you want to go with a guy like Todd Gurley?
No.
I feel like no, he's still so young. I think he's like 26 years old.
Yeah, but it's just like, why take on somebody else's problem at this point? And I'm not saying he's a problem. I'm just saying it's, he's gonna be a free agent for a reason, right? Like, he's not the Todd Gurley that got that huge contract from the Rams. So, he will be good, and I'm sure he will be a good rotational guy. But it's like, feel like you can't keep on pushing these young guys that you drafted or signed undrafted, especially in a bad season. If we were that like one player away, and we might be, that's the one thing that I will say. If we can get 10 mil over or under the cap, and we have $10 million like week 5, and week 5 we're looking at ourselves like, look, hey, because Devontae Freeman stood a free agent for a while. So maybe Todd Gurley stays a free agent for a while. So maybe week 5, we're looking at ourselves like, damn, if we get us a good little running back, this offense could be something special. Then you make that decision. But like right now, I think you just got to see what you have. You know what I'm saying? You got to, just like with Jalen Hurts.
I get that. I think the one thing, though, that kind of shot us in the foot was last year when when Miles Sanders went down, we didn't have I love Boston Scott, but we didn't have a guy to come in, and we should have taken or should have tried to pick up a Devontae Freeman. I think he wanted more of a starting role anyways. So with Saquon Barkley not being available, that was his best move. But the fact that we didn't have like a solid backup kind of hurt. And then once we finally got Jordan Howard, it was like, we'll give you the ball once, and then that's about it for the rest of the season. So that was weird. But speaking of the young guys and kind of like the little Twitter we were talking about before, what are your thoughts on these young guys being Twitter happy and being very confident on social media?
You're gonna get Tom upset. Tom's gonna come in here. You're gonna no. I mean, look, I personally don't care. It's just you put that burden on yourself now. Like I went live yesterday talking about this, and it's like, I don't care. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with you thinking you're the best, because at the end of the day, everybody should think they're the best. Everybody should, you know what I'm saying, go out there with that confidence and think that they're going to go out there and ball out, because that's what you should feel as an NFL athlete. But we sucked last year, so I don't really understand where that confidence is coming from. Travis Fulgham, I can understand you being confident. Real talk, because you balled out when you were given a chance, and you got your chance taken away from you for some reason. So I can understand you being like, hey, I got my shot now. Watch out. Jalen, bro, I think you have all the talent in the world, and you can become something. But my guy, don't come on, bro. Like, you were hurt more than you played. Like, and that's not a knock on you. It is what it is. Injuries happen, but you're probably not in the position to say something like that. So I understand both sides of it. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, you put that burden on yourself now. So next year, if you're trash midway through the season, don't be mad when Eagles fans are memeing you and atting you on Twitter and going ham on you, because you now put that on yourself. You said you was going to ball out. You said you wasn't worried. That was the one that got me. That one was the one that got me. I'm not worried about this at all. Like,
why you capping? Are you lying?
Somebody woke up with a little bit of Captain Crunch in his bowl. Like, come on, bro. Like, and like I said, I love the confidence, and I love, the mindset. That's what I want, especially from younger players that are now going to get a shot. We were talking to Jason Huntley. It's like, you have to have that competition in your mind that you're ready to go fight. And, this is what the team is offering now. You know what I'm saying? It's like going to a brand new restaurant, and you're like, oh, I could become the manager here, man, quick. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing but opportunity on this team, because everybody sucks. So, you can go out there and prove you don't suck, and you might have a starting job next year. Like, I don't know if it was you, but somebody said yesterday that we got so hyped over a linebacker just because he actually could tackle. And it was so true, because it's like, we made these linebackers into once Nate Gary went down, Alex Singleton and TJ Edwards were legitimate goats for us. We were like, these guys actually tackled people. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. So I don't even know what we were talking about. I just went on like a whole tangent on that.
The young guys and the Twitter fingers.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like I said, I see both sides of it. I'm surprised Tom's not saying nothing yet, but yeah, I see both sides of it. I'm not mad at it.
Watch
it's just,
he'll
put the burden. Yeah.
Well, I think this generation, I bet if the young guys back in the day, if a Michael Irvin or Deion Sanders or something back in the day, if they had Twitter and stuff, they would be going all off on it all the time. So it's a young generation thing. Unfortunately we're getting older. I feel like I look at
you
Darius.
are.
I look at Darius play, I'm like, dang, he's getting old. I'm like, oh wait, he's like 1 year older than me. Like, what am I saying to myself? So it's just the younger guys that Twitter and Instagram or whatever, that's their outlet. That's their way of communicating with us fans, rather than just going through the media, the news people, and kind of putting out there that they're confident. I mean, it might work in a smaller industry, but for us Philly people, you're gonna have to really prove it because, like you said, be ready for some like Nelson Aguilar type memes and stuff like that, where you're gonna be blown up on the news, on every social media, everywhere, in the stands. If I could picture a sign saying, "I thought you weren't worried."
Yeah, right. That's gonna be the shirt. Don't give away the sauce now. Don't give away the sauce now. That's gonna be the shirt coming up. I like that. Thought she wasn't worried. Yeah, no, and the other one, when he was like, keep that shit coming or whatever, and he retweeted somebody. It's like, bro, nobody even took a shot at you, bro. Like they just put up, like literally, they just put up like the top guys that got drafted, or the guys that got drafted for the Eagles. Like he didn't say anything. It's not like he was like, you suck.
You're just a name on there, bro. I mean,
yeah.
there was like the message was like, these are the guys we've taken, and unfortunately none of them really have worked out. But you can look at the Patriots. The Patriots have had all this success, but if you put their wide receivers drafted are, if not worse than the ones we've drafted. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see where he might have gotten want to get a little spicy with it, because in reality, that was a post that's kind of saying we don't have anyone really that great that we've drafted, but now you got to prove it, bro. You have a chance. Yeah. New coach, new quarterback for a whole season. This is your chance. Got to stay healthy. Can't be breaking pinkies.
An actual off season, hopefully.
I just hope they use him and punt return. Like, this dude got a punt return touchdown and was never seen back there again because they didn't want to put too much on his plate. Right. Just keep him back there then. If you don't want him to put, just keep him back there. He didn't do much on wide receiver anyways.
Honestly, if he became like a top tier punt returner, I'll be like, whatever. I give up on that. It was cool. Whatever. You did it. Good job. We did good once. I'll take it as a win if he can at least do that. Because, like you said, he just wasn't used. And I don't get it. I just really don't get it. I don't know. Today's just the tangent show. But, we had so many, I thought Dave Phipp was that guy. Dave Phipp was such a smart dude for so long, in my opinion. And then, after we won the Super Bowl, it flipped. I wish his last name was Flip, because then it would have, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't work when it's Phipp. But it flipped.
When you have Greg Ward back there the whole season, and most of the time he would just fair catch and then run up and let the ball bounce to the 5-yard line. How many chances does one player get? It's the NFL. You had drafted all these fast dudes. You have other dudes. I mean, you got Boston Scott returning kickoffs. Why aren't you using any of the quote unquote speed that we just got with all younger bodies, younger people? Maybe it's good that we're having a fresh start and we blew up our whole coaching staff.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense last year. I feel like they were trying to lose. So Jake says right now that he'd rather have Aguilar over Jalen Reagor. Now, we talked yesterday to Scott Goldbranson, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. Please, hopefully that's how you pronounce his name. But he's a big Raiders guy, and he was talking about Aguilar, and that was probably the most painful live moment of my life, just having to hear him talk about how Aguilar's a leader, and he, you know what I'm saying? He had a great year, but is Reagor going to become another Aguilar? I don't think so. We didn't see enough of Reagor yet. I don't know. Wait, what do you
better?
Say again?
I was saying he has potential to be better. It's just got to be used in the right spot. And we got to hope that this new coaching staff really sticks to their guns about scheme and everything like that. But at 3 p.m. talking about the oh man,
they're talking about for Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
Embiid
guy. That's hey, go Sixers, right? Right, guys, right? No,
not go Sixers.
Hey,
I will say this.
Don't sleep on the Knicks.
Go ahead,
we need Rose.
Oh, here we go.
But I just got to scheme him, get him into the positions that he needs to be in, with maybe wide receiver screens, slant patterns, and stuff like that. It was kind of like what you just brought up, the Raiders guy talking about Ruggs, how they kept putting him on a fly because he had speed. That's cool, but you got to go back to the tape and see what he did in college, what he was doing well with, and just run with it and let him show us that he's either good or not good with the stuff that he's good at doing.
Facts, yeah. It's all about scheme. We're going to pound that to death because that's literally all that we've learned this year. scheme over everything. You can make the worst player look like the best player look like the worst. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely got to see this scheme get better. So, I mean, all right. So with the last 15 minutes, I want to really talk about this. All right. Can Howie save this offseason? That's the question that is being begged right now. Okay, that's the agree to disagree poll question. I don't know why I'm being so animated, but everybody, we got 35 people in the chat, so everybody be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and come join us over on Philly the podcast. If you are not, privy to what we do, check us out anywhere. We definitely do this, but I want to know what you guys think too, and we'll answer it obviously. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree or disagree that Howie can save this offseason? So. What do you think? What do you think with the offseason moves he's making, he can save this season?
I'm going to go ahead and go with the unpopular opinion. I'm going to be Mr. Optimism. I'm going to go, I agree. I think he can save it. I'm not that pessimistic that we're going to absolutely suck next year. I just can't put myself in that position because I want to be able to look forward to the football season. I don't want football season to come up and just looking forward to another depressing season. Like I have hopes that with scheme and the players that have been drafted, that we can make something, especially in the division we play in. We know that the other teams, they still have a bunch of mess themselves. And even with a team like the Cowboys, with all the players that they have, they weren't able to overcome losing Dak, even though they had the players there. So I still think we can have a chance to not completely suck and end up having another top 10 draft pick. I think we can make something. I don't want to go too far ahead of myself, but I feel optimistic right now. We'll see what happens with the Zach Ertz. We'll obviously see what happens with the draft. That will be the telltale. That will be we're going to really be out on the streets with the Fire Howie shirts, selling them everywhere. Or we're going to be like, okay, maybe we can look forward right now to this season.
As long as he doesn't take quarterback at 6, I think he'll be all right.
I'm mad about that. We need one. We need so many.
A quarterback? A quarter?
Oh, no. I thought they said corner.
I was about to say, I was like, Brandon, if you don't. I was like, Brandon, are we really going to do this right now? But no, yeah, as long as he doesn't take like a Mac Jones.
CB.
Yeah, no, we definitely need a corner. Yeah, we definitely need a corner. I agree with you there. I was like, this man really about to say that we need a quarterback at 6. Especially like with 15 minutes left. We're going to go another whole hour now. But no, I do agree. I mean, I agree with the poll question, and I think it's what does save mean to you, right? I think that's what you really have to ask. I think that's what a lot of people have to really look into, because save doesn't really necessarily mean that I think we're going to be a Super Bowl team. Save to me means that we're going to be able to, properly analyze what we have and properly see what these players can do with a decent enough team that I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not saying we're a Super Bowl team, but I think that if everybody plays well and plays their role, we can be a good team. You know what I'm saying? And that's a good way of seeing who you have. It's going to take leadership. It's going to take some guys, performing above their status right now. So we'll see. I think that he can. I still think he should get fired, even if he does. It's just too much drama. Last year
on the contract or something like that.
This is his
There's a high chance
year, so.
I'll come back next year. This is pretty, especially if we stink, and if like the fans are, especially if Jeffrey Lurie's listening to the radio and taking advice, there's a good chance he ain't gonna be here next year.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my thing with that article too. It's like if he listens to the radio, Howie would have been long gone. Howie would have never got hired. But I mean, like I said, I think we can turn it around. Like I said, next year we get a lot of money. We're gonna have a lot of money on the cap, so it should work out in our favor. So let's see what people say. Big Play says, with how bad the offseason looks for the Eagles right now, I definitely do not see how we fixing the Eagles, especially from his eyes. Oof. So that's a disagree, I'm assuming. He says, I really think we could still win the division. I think we could. Our division's trash. So, I mean, and I'm not saying that we're just going to be the best of the trash, but our division is trash. No matter how much the Cowboys want to act like they came back from nowhere. Philly 52 says, shout out to Philly 52. He's a channel member over at Philly the podcast. Disagree, too many things to fix. I feel you, man. There's a lot of things to fix.
But like you
He
said,
says
it all
Wrench City
depends on what your definition of save is. If you think save is we're going to be 2017 and go on a great run, or the save mean we got rid of our franchise quarterback last year. We had 4 wins and a tie. Maybe saving means we get at least 8 to 10 wins this season. That could be a save to somebody compared to completely stinking and being the Browns of the old.
Yeah, sure. So to some people, they might be like, if we win 4 games, he saved us because we got like 3 top. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Everybody got a different, what they want out of the season. Me personally, I can't. Like you said, I think me and you are both on the same train. We cannot deal with another season like this. We are not, bred for this. Listen, we're around 30. I'm not, I wasn't here when, Ray Rhodes and all. A lot of people be like, you don't know, we went through so much. I didn't. I'm not trying to start it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, shout out to all the OGs that watched, everything. But
I started with McNabb, and I haven't really seen too many bad seasons in a row. So, like you said, I ain't trying to start that now.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to see no losses. I'm a Nets fan. I've seen enough losing. Shout out to Bobby Stevens with the $5 super chat saying, I'm going double dipping. Cornerback first 2 picks, Patrick Surtain and Asante Samuel Jr. I probably wouldn't do that. I mean, if you trade back in the first, maybe. I can see that, maybe, but no, yeah. That's a little bit too much. There's so many other positions. Like you got linebacker, you got linebacker, you got linebacker. Like we need one linebacker. We don't have one linebacker that would go to another team and be a starter.
There's some good linebackers you can grab in the 2nd or 3rd round. But double dipping a corner, it's one thing to grab a corner at 6 and having to deal with the growths there and knowing that he's going to eventually be good. But to double dip, that means you have 2 super young corners on your roster. That's just tough, especially when you're asking one to maybe both be starters on the team. And that's really going through some growing pains, especially when we have other position of needs, like you said, linebacker. I think like linebacker.
Linebacker too. Let's not forget linebacker. No. And the defensive line is getting older, as we've said before. So there's so many things that we got to fix. And this is a deep draft. This is and where I think the biggest part, not to totally shut you down, man. If we do that, we do that. And I'm not angry at it. We're just kind of playing devil's advocate. Because I feel like he just paid $5 for us to tell him no. Like, you know what I'm saying? But no, like I feel bad now. But no, we're not gonna just sit here and tell you what you want to hear, right? But no, I think we have to be honest. We're in a developmental stage, right? So we have a lot of players that need to be developed. Do you want to keep on adding multiple players at one position that have to be developed? Spread it out a little bit, because then at least, you got different coaches that can help them out. When you're putting all that on just one guy, I know we have 2 different guys that are doing the cornerback situation, but I wouldn't be mad, but I just don't think it's something we should do right now. What's good, AK Eagles, another channel member over at Philly the podcast. Look at that. I got a good memory, man. Got a good memory because it don't even tell me on here. And then Big Play Slay says, I have a question for you guys. Who do you think has the better season, Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz? And who do you think meshes well with coaching and more efficient?
Oh, that's an easy answer. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. Carson's not an Eagle, man. Like Joe's been saying, all we need him to do is play the amount of snaps that he needs to in order for us to get a 1st-round pick. Other than that, he's not an Eagle anymore. I could care less if he plays well at all. If anything, I don't even want to say I hope he doesn't play well, because that's just a waste of energy for myself of hoping on something I don't need to hope for. Like, it doesn't matter what he does. I think Jalen Hurts, with the addition of the quarterback's coach from Florida, I'm forgetting his name, that knows Jalen, with the new scheme, with the younger coaches, I think there's a lot of excitement there.
Brian Johnson, I think his name is.
Yeah, exactly. Him and just like a lot of excitement, especially if Jalen's that dude. Ask this question again if we draft a quarterback in the 1st round, because then we're not going to know who's going to be the starter. But if Jalen's that guy, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of youth. There's a lot of personality there that I like from Jalen. and I think he'll have the better season.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be Jalen. It's definitely gonna be Jalen. My thing is, and you brought it up, Brian Johnson. Yeah, Brian Johnson. That's what I said. Excuse me. But no, you said it perfectly. In the comment, Big Play Slay said it perfectly with the whole who will mesh well with coaching. I think that's the most important part. I think something's gonna happen, and I said this with Dallas last year. Last year, if you remember, before the season, I started doing like little like writings and stuff like that, like little articles, and I did like my prediction for the NFC East, and I had them going 6-10 because I said something was going to happen with Dak. I didn't necessarily say an injury. I just felt like they were in that weird position that he didn't have that contract, and the way karma works sometimes, and the way the world works, something was going to happen. So I saw that coming, to be honest with you. And with Carson Wentz, I see something happening. And it might not be solely on him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's going to be Carson that ruins the team or anything like that. I'm just saying when you have a weak mentality, and I feel he has a weak mentality, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, things start to follow you. You start to have monkeys on your back that might not necessarily be there. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Him and Frank have a lot of pressure on each other because it's Carson going to where he wanted to go. It's Frank getting the guy he wanted. If they stink it up, especially after the season that they had last year, making it to they made it to the playoffs, right? The Colts, and they did it with Philip Rivers aging, someone that can't move, and his arm is a noodle arm at this point. The fact that they made it that far, and now they get someone younger, the guy that they want, then they have a lot of pressure on themselves, and hence why Hurts, he doesn't really have that much. The most pressure Hurts was going to have as an Eagle were those 4 games last year with Carson breathing down his neck, I believe.
Yeah, Hurts' pressure is all on himself. It's all, excuse me, it's all in his own head, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it as like, he's in his own mind. It's all on him. It's all him wanting to be the best he can be. That's the best type of pressure you can have. You know what I'm saying? That's the motivation that you want. So I definitely think Jalen, and I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is the better quarterback. I've said this plenty of times. I've said numerous occasions that I think Carson Wentz is the better quarterback. If we're rating a quarterback, but like I think Jalen Hurts is in, like you said, a position that I don't want to say you can't lose, but it's gonna be kind of hard to lose because if you suck, you suck. It is what it is. Like you move on. But if you're great, boom, you might end up getting a bag next year. So I like both of them. But so what up, boys? Great show. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Pound that like button. For sure. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Double dipping corner. Not a bad idea. They're joking, saying 3 linebackers 3 times, but we really only need cornerbacks, linebackers, and maybe an extra backup lineman. And we have 10 picks. They need to evaluate talent in the front office. Facts. This is this one and next year we said this last year though. I feel like we said this last year that these next 2 are best.
But we said it. We might be on the fence with Rager, but some of the picks they did at least contribute this year. The lineman picks, those were pretty good outside of getting hurt. Like Jack Driscoll, he impressed me considering he got thrown into the fire without an off season, without really prep. It's kind of like, next lineman up, and he performed well for what it was before he got hurt. We still have a couple other young guys like Yvonne Wallace and some of the other dudes that didn't really get an opportunity. So I'm looking forward to seeing them because they potentially could be some good players. We just didn't know because obviously Doug was on the tear of I need to get out of here, so I'm going to do everything I can to mess this up. So we'll see what these young players can do.
Shout out to Doug, man. So the answer to today's poll question from us, at least, you guys continuously, say what you guys think in the comments. Let us know why. But for us, at least, we think that Howie can put out the fire that he started. I think that's something that we can both agree on here. Like, he can probably put his own forest fire out. So we're hoping for the best, but I think it'll get good. So next Saturday, we will be here. We'll be back 1 p.m. You know how we do. It's going to be every Saturday thing. You're going to see our beautiful faces. But other than that, if you guys want to see us any other day, come on over to Philly the podcast. Definitely check us out. You know what I'm saying? We do this every day, and we have amazing guests every day. So yeah, I know what it is. You got anything you want to say before you get out of here, or before we get out of here, Brandon?
Nah, I'm good, man.
You go. He said, let's get the heck out of here. So, like I said, I appreciate everybody coming in here, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come follow us to our channel. Shout out to Tom and the whole A2D family. Thank you for having us on as always. But other than that,
Yes, sir.
It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here.